bit quick overview about me. I'm two times immigrant, 7 years ago from Ukraine to Estonia, 5 months ago from Estonia to the US, obtaining O1 visa with my husband. Right now I'm in Miami and in the process of adjustment of status from O1 to EB1 right now. Let me share my screen with you. I will tell you a bit more about me and about our project. I have been working with visa clients for 7 years already, and we are incorporated with more than 15 immigration attorneys who refer their clients for us to get them recognition and press. Each month, our platform has more than 200 visa clients whom we help with building and crafting the content for them and publishing in the media outlets. This is our platform, prnews.io. We have never been targeting to visa clients. Visa clients, maybe 10-15% of all the clients whom we serve with. Our platform mostly for huge digital agencies, big companies, enterprise that need to get guaranteed press coverage in different countries. We can publish interviews, press releases, expert opinion articles, not only in the US, but in different countries. We cover Latin America, Asian market, European market, etc. So anybody can jump on our platform, choose the media outlets he like, according to his budget, strategy, preferences, whatever, and just get it guaranteed placement within several business days, like buying something on Amazon.com. And that's what usually our visa clients used to do on our platform. So why PR matters for your visa case? Let's start that PR is not only needed for your visa. Everybody needs PR nowadays because you are not visible, you're invisible, right? With developing such ChatGPT, Gemini, and all other LM systems, people usually they even don't use Google. They start asking about you, about your company in ChatGPT and other LM systems. So using press articles in media, you can teach ChatGPT to answer correctly about you and about your company. Because ChatGPT and all other LM systems, they grab the information from the third-party resources. And the third-party resources are articles in media. The more you put articles there, the more fresh they are, the better. And also USCIS, they use, they're not ChatGPT, they use another system, Croc, where they serve information, they serve information about you. So getting more press coverage is essential, not just for visa, but for your Google footprint, for your digital footprint, for your credibility, for your trustworthiness, etc. And press coverage in media, one of the most essential criteria for USCIS and for your attorneys, because using that, they can prove that you're an expert in your industry, that you have these extraordinary abilities, and they are verified by the third party, means by the articles in media, by the journalists, etc. The most common and popular question that my clients used to ask me, when should I start? As soon as possible. Because then if you speak about the press coverage in media and putting the articles there, the USCIS and immigration attorneys would like to see the traction that you have been doing your PR for several years before you're filing your case. So 2 years back, 1 year back, it's the ideal time to start. Also, my clients ask, how many articles should I get? The more the better, but usually once the immigration attorneys refer their clients to us, they offer them to do from 3 up to 5 up to 7 articles in media. That's what I'm talking about, this natural recognition. It's okay to make gaps between articles. For instance, you're going to file the case in, let's imagine, in a year. So I highly recommend you to start working your PR like today. One article has been published within 1 month or 2 months. Then you make a post, then you get another articles published. It would look unnatural if you publish 5 articles in a month before filing a case. If you didn't do any PR before that, I do not recommend you to post a lot of articles in media before filing your case, because I'm not sure that your attorney would accept that. need the immigration officer also as well. So please start working your PR on daily basis because you'll never know when you need it. So what to write about? It's also, so my clients usually they're super talented people. They're working for major companies in the US, but mostly all of them said, I do not know what to write about me. I'm not popular. I'm not, I don't know, Taylor Swift, Elon Musk, etc. I would like to add that 80% of all the content has to be about you, not about the company you're working for, not about the project you're working for. It should be about your biography, your plans for the future, your impact into the industry, etc. I've prepared you several examples what not acceptable for visa recognition for the USCIS. So the first, the press release of the company, some hotel, with the mark press release and the mark sponsored. This is disclosure information. Such type of articles, they do not meet the USCIS criteria. The second option is also press release, corporate PR that also won't give you any proof that you're a reliable candidate. The same corporate PR doesn't work for visa. And also I prepared you several examples, which type of articles usually work for visa. This one of our client. So what you can see here in the article, the name and surname of the applicant. This is also crucial because once you Google somebody about you, USCIS, etc., they need to show vividly that this article is about you. The author and the date here. Definitely your portrait photo. I highly recommend you to put the portrait photo of you in the article. It could be a plain article, or it could be just an interview format like Q&A. And also have several samples for you guys. The same, the name and surname in the title, the author and the date, and portrait photo. Usually the article has to have more than, let's say, 500 words, and it could include several hyperlinks. It could be on your LinkedIn profile, on your professional website if you have any, or without hyperlinks at all. This is a sample of interview format. Interview means like they asked them, they answered that. This is also the type of content that we use for visa. Some of the attorneys, I do not know why, they recommend to use, I don't know, one interview and 2 articles. So it's up to you. So speaking about, there are 2 types of media outlets for USCIS. One of them are major media outlets. And unfortunately, USCIS, they doesn't identify what major media outlets are. Whether it's 100K monthly visits, whether it's 1,000 monthly visits, etc. Most of my attorneys who refer their clients to us say that 100,000 monthly visitors, according to similarweb.com, is okay to identify this media as major. On our platform, you can check all this data. We buy this data from similarweb.com. And once you go checking any website, you can check it here, engagement visits. So this is the paid subscription for similarweb.com, and you can use our platform free of charge to check how media popular is or not. So major media, one type of media outlets. Another type of media outlets are niche industry media. And usually they do not have the traffic volume of them. It's not so important. If you are building a startup in AI industry or in health industry, etc., health-related websites, technology-related websites, or I don't know, filmmaking-related websites, they do not have to have like millions of audience. They just have to be relevant to your industry where you're working for. Okay. So what are the criteria, significant criteria that you do not have to have on your articles that you are going to file with your case? As I've said, article must not contain the sponsor tag. This is how it look like. TechCrunch, the company bought an article on TechCrunch and TechCrunch marked it as sponsored. So such type of articles, they're okay for branding of the company, etc., but they're not okay if you go with such type of articles with sponsored labels applying for a visa case. Advertorial, brand voice, paid partnership, or contributor post. I know that a lot of my clients used contributor posts can I open? Yes. While preparing the content, please make sure that your attorney would accept it, because like for the past, I don't know, 3-4 months, a lot of attorneys start declining all these type of articles that has contributor content. Usually at the end of this type of article, contributor content, it's like written like this, that the staff were not involved in the creation of this content. For some immigration attorneys, it's a red flag. So please make sure that your article won't have such information. About audience, we already talked. About author, that it has to be the author, the publication date, full URL, and clear headline. Clear headline means with your name and surname. And yes, content has to be not AI generated. I beg you guys, please find some copywriters or draft on your own. Please do not generate content by AI. First of all, the media owner will decline such type of content. The second, your attorney won't accept it. And definitely USCIS won't accept it. Please invest your money or time in creating a professionally written article, because it's essential. You can use AI definitely to structure the content, but please do not use AI to draft the whole article, as some of my clients do. Another type of, I would say, content, it's your expert contribution articles. So one type of article that we talked about is the article written about you by a journalist that highlights your biography, your impact into the industry, your plans for the future. Also, we help for visa criteria. We help with another type of content, contribution to the industry. Such type of articles has to be authored, hold on please, has to be authored not by the journalist, but by you. Give me a second. Like this is a sample. So here in the byline has to be your name and surname, not the journalist. And such type of articles, your expert opinion on some specific topic in your industry. Usually such type of articles has more than 100,000 words. And I'm sorry, 1,000 words, 100,000 too much. At the end, such type of articles has to have the references list and about the author. Maybe I can find some other sample as well. Yes, here. About, and it has to be the section about you, like here, about the author. Some of the attorneys put this like expert contribution to the industry. Means that definitely all these articles has to be published without advertisement label, etc. And they highlight that you're an expert, that you're a thought leader in the industry, and you're extraordinary. You can also consider such type of articles for you, not only about you, not only profile articles. Speaking about PR in general, first of all, what you can do free of charge. Start publishing something on your Medium blog. It's free of charge. You can show the traction. You can publish like a lot of articles there if you have time to drop them. And that would also be not like the main criteria, not like the main fact that you have Medium. It could be an extra that you have blog on Medium and you share your expert opinion on some specific topic on Medium. Definitely LinkedIn presence. LinkedIn, they Googled, they indexed by Google very high. So on the first page, it could be all your LinkedIn posts. So try to do, I don't know, one per week LinkedIn post about something in your industry, about your ideas. You can comment something in your industry, etc. If you have extra budgets, you can also use contributor membership. It's more like for entrepreneur and for tech industry as well. Forbes has do that. Forbes Council membership. If I'm not mistaken, this subscription costs 5K per year. You definitely need to be verified by Forbes. You can check their criteria, how they can verify you. And you can post, I would say, 9, 10 articles per year on Forbes Council profile. Why only 10, 9? Because they have very strict requirements in terms of the content. And usually they moderate the content from 2 up to 3 weeks. This type of subscription costs 5K, if I'm not mistaken. Also, the same subscription has Entrepreneur Leadership Network and Inc. Master programs, the same. So if you have like some budget, you definitely need to do that. And also, if somebody invites you to part in the podcasts or webinars, please use this possibility as well. I'm done. I have a QR code here. All the guys, you can scan it and get all my contact details and just drop me a line by my email. I'll be happy to share with you a $50 promo code to use PR News.io services. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Natalia. That was so insightful and
Thank you.
so much detail to your presentation. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I think if you don't mind, I will share also your email and contact information with the group again afterwards. So
Thank
people
you.
can reach out to you. That'd be awesome. And then over to Jumpstart, who are, I'd say, veterans at this point of time in terms of hosting webinars. Fabiano, are you going to kick it off?
Yes, thank you guys. I will be short because Natalia's presentation was really amazing and so complete, and so I will avoid to repeat a lot of details. I really like, and indeed we also learn more details, so it's really nice, and I totally agree with all of that. Just to explain a little bit about me and Jumpstart, I'm a data scientist. I graduated from the Brazilian Air Force University and also went to MIT. I immigrated 3 times, so that's why I opened my company to help immigrants. We are a legal tech, but we are a little different. Our edge is to protect people, especially financially. So that's why we offer a refunded policy. And next year, we are going to cover even the government fees. So if you go with Jumpstart, it's because we totally believe in your case, and you can pay insurance. Basically, it will be $600. And just with this small fee, we cover everything. So basically, if we lose the case, we refund the service fees, which is the amount you pay for Jumpstart, and the government fees, which are usually from 1K to 4K. So, and in the future, we intend to offer more financial services. So basically, we provide legal service with insurance. That's our edge. And so feel free to contact, and if you need any help with anything, feel free. And our contribution is basically to study a lot the petitions in a more analytical way to understand bias patterns that sometimes lawyers or humans are not capable of understand. And especially now, something that I want to mention, share with you, is USCIS hire Palantir, which is a really large big tech, that to develop some internal tools to analyze case. My impression is, and again, this is my impression, this is not official source, but my impression is probably 80 or 90% of the O1 visas are being judged by AI. And I state that because when you look for the request for evidence, it was a major shift in the last 2 months. A lot of the standard replies. Right now, they can verify website. For example, if you apply for memberships, they can go for example, if you try to use UIC or any business incubator as a membership, they go through their website, they take a screenshot and find pieces that is against the idea of being the top in your field. So basically they can say, if there's anything like, hey, we develop you, we help you to grow, they go in their website and use this against you. In the past, it was just analyzing the petitions, and they say if it was okay or fair, they just accept. Right now, it's almost impossible to use the membership for founders, for example. And this is changing also how they analyze the media coverage, because they verify a lot of details. Usually, in the past, you could present a print version of the website and okay. Right now, they are using AI to verify everything. So everything that Natalia shared is totally true, and you need to be aware. A lot of founders or applicants, they look after us. Sometimes they ask help with improving the profile. We don't offer this officially. Sometimes we help it because we believe just with some adjustments, you can do it. But something I realized, a common question is if I should pay for a service or if I should try alone. I really like the Natalia presentation and to match her because she knows everything in terms of all the details that qualify or not. And sometimes I saw founders and applicants spending 3-6 months in the wrong direction. So I think if you have money, if you have time, and you really depend on that in terms of if you need a O1 or a EB2 or even a EB1, I should invest on media because you can do both. You can try organically and you also can hire an expert to help you. I think this is the best of the two worlds. You can combine that. So in terms of talking about media coverage itself, I have just some notes to share with you because I think we're going to repeat a lot of the content. And I think we can better use the time with the questions in the end. So the verification part is really important. So try to basically make sure that everything that Natalia mentioned in terms of verification, you verify before trying to use the specifically article. This is really important. Something that is also important, I saw sometimes founders, they use the same text and share with different newspapers. And sometimes this is organic. Sometimes it's paid, sometimes not. But the point is, if you get like 5 articles with a high similarity, they also know right now because they use AI to compare. So what you can do is, if you have 5 articles covering the same event or the same period of time in your life, go to ChatGPT and ask what is the similarity of these articles. Because if it is higher than 90%, the similarity, basically try to use 1 or 2. Don't try to say that you have 5 articles because they're going to deny and say the articles have a high similarity. This is really important also, to use AI to protect you against their AI right now. Because in the end, it's going to be a war to prevent a request for evidence or a rejection. What else? In terms of how they see the newspapers, we saw some patterns that basically they kind of already know, or they have internal lists of what they respect or not. For example, we saw a request for evidence that even with a high traffic to their website, they didn't accept at all. And usually it's because the newspaper doesn't have journalists, official journalists. So the credibility also can be measured in terms of how old is the journal or the newspaper, how many journalists they have. So right now they do this kind of verification. So that's why you also should try to verify everything or help it, to hire a professional to help you. And in terms of the visa application, and the visas that required some media coverage is that we are talking about the O1 and the EB1. In terms of the O1, it's less selective, but it's still difficult. So you need to pay attention in all the details. For EB1, I should say it's not as I saw some clients that they have the impression, hey, I will just pay. I don't have any contribution. I'm not an expert in my field. I will just pay and I'm going to do magic. This is not going to happen with EB1. So uh, trying to get a media covered in terms of EB1 require that you are already an expert or at least a good professional in your field. If you are too junior without concrete evidence, we are going to say nothing in the newspaper and this is going to be in vain. So I try to also to understand if you are ready to try a EB1 or not, because it's so much harder than O1. If for O1, if you don't have a lot of work experience, you don't have a lot of work, a lot of contributions, this is doable. But for in terms of EB1, it's so much harder. And talking about a little bit about other type of visa, media coverage always help. So if you go through the EB2 national interest or even the E2, if you use media coverage to argue that you are above average professional, this is also going to help. And another thing that people don't consider is media coverage can help you even in the consulate. For example, 4 months ago, Brazil was in a bad situation. I'm Brazilian, by the way, but Brazil was in a bad situation with Trump. Actually, Trump was in a bad situation with a lot of countries, but 4 months ago was Brazil. Now they are okay. So the consulate start to hold some applicants, and instead of it just deciding and granting the visa, they ask them to wait, sometimes 1 or 2 months. They hold their passport for like all of this. I had a friend that his passport was held for like 3 months in the end. And clients that had some digital presence, they got the passport in like 2 or 3 weeks. So because it was easy to verify. We also had clients that they state, hey, I have extraordinary ability because I built a bank in Mexico. And the officer asked you, can you prove that? And say, yes, go to Google, write my name and bank in Mexico. And the officer verified in a few seconds and approved the visa. So this can help you in so many ways. And also, when you look for other newspapers, the journalist also is going to search about you, because the initial article is the most difficult, because if you go organically and try to get a newspaper and you have no digital presence, the journalist is basically doing a favor to you, because they're going to basically, it's showing to the world that they believe you, and this is going to help you with the other articles. So sometimes if you pay, it's easy to break the cycle, because at least you have one article in a place, and then this can help you with the other organic articles also. So basically, that's why you should start as soon as possible with all the resources that you have. So if you can pay, go ahead. If you have contact friends, try to get something that's really important. PR is always about also understand what the journalists want to say and create excuse to put your name or your company. For example, 2 weeks ago, Trump ordered to avoid green card for obese, for fat people and people with diabetes. And this was like a scandal. At least in Brazil, people publish it a lot. Hey, this is absurd. This is totally crazy. And indeed it is. But imagine if you are someone with work uh, with health in general, and you can surf in this wave. Basically, you can do and try to give your opinion about obesity and diabetes and whatever. For us, for example, when Trump imposed the 100K fees, we try to calculate what were the size of the impact, because Jumpstart is always about numbers. Basically, we are the analytical legal tech. We like to present ourselves like that. So we always try to understand the impact, quantify, because usually lawyers are not so good doing that. So since we have more data scientists and engineers, this we always try to do that. And for example, we got amazing newspapers in Brazil, in Latin America. Now we partner with Forbes. So everything in the end is a mix also about relationship and find the opportunity to say something that is in a hype. So you also need to look the trends and combine this with your story, with the work of your startup. And combining all of this, you probably will have a strong media presence in 6 or 12 months. So that's why everything related to immigration start as soon as possible, because everything is slow. Even the EB1, which is the fastest green card, it takes some months to get, and some years of work, a lot of years of work actually. So these are my recommendations for you. And if you have more specific questions about your case, or if you have a dilemma of invest or not, feel free to reach out. Sometimes we are psychologists also, because it's hard to understand if you're going to invest or not, because indeed in the end it's involve a lot of money. So feel free, and whatever we can do to help, we can do. Okay.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for this as well. I'm always stunned by the depth of knowledge both of you have. I'd say, let's see how many more questions we get in the next minutes. And if there's anything people would want to speak about and have a quick conversation about. I'm seeing them in the chat already, and you guys are answering everything. But yeah, I think now's the time for a bit of Q&A. So why don't you just unmute yourself and we'll make this interpersonal. Okay, or we can take the questions that come in from the chat here. And Siva asks, she or he says, my startup is very niche, and so the magazines have less subscribers. How can you make that work so USCIS still accepts that?
I would say that, thank you for the question. I would say that definitely niche websites would be great. Definitely wine liqueur websites can't get like millions of audience like Forbes, I don't know, Reuters, MSN, etc. And speaking about the countries, yes, you need to use like your common sense. For instance, if your business is, let's imagine in Italy, if Italian media wrote something about you, that's okay. If media from Brazil, for instance, wrote something about you and you have no connections with Brazil at all, that would look suspicious. So I hope that USCIS use their common sense when they verify the media press coverage, and your attorneys as well.
Yes, my tip is try to use also the calendar of the year, especially now we are going to Christmas, New Year's. You can be the expert that explain what is the best type of wine. So this can help you to get a lot of press, to be honest. And you can present yourself as an expert.
Yes, it's called like newsjacking, to surf on the current news in your industry. For instance, if you're in AI industry, you can make a post on LinkedIn and commenting what would happen with AI in 2026, for instance. Or you got how to get news. You need to go to Google News, choose the industry, the tech, wine, etc., and check the recent news in your industry and can comment. Hey, my LinkedIn followers, I just saw this news in my industry. This is my comments and my expert opinion on this post in your LinkedIn. What do you think? And you get a lot of not a lot of reposts, a lot of comments there. And this LinkedIn post will index by Google on the first page. And while USCIS or someone who are going to go through compliance, for instance, those who grab passport from your friend, they Googled him and they find some verification of him. So yes, this is how what to write about means. Okay.
And another tip is also trying to make events with journalists. This can help you. For example, I have a client that he provides really great coffee in Brazil. And he was saying, hey, I don't know how to show up in the newspaper. And you are showing up like every week or every 2 weeks. And say, try to be creative, because in the end, journalists are also human beings. And if you create an event like showing all the types of coffees, you can do this for wine, for example, create a workshop, invite a lot of journalists and give them a lot of wine, make them drunk, became their friends. And give,
Yes, you
yes,
got
give
a lot of
a bottle,
press, definitely.
yes, give a bottle of wine. And then if they became friends, they are going to be your friend, and they can write about you. So try to be creative with us. But wine industry is amazing to do press.
All right, a few more questions coming in. So let's go with Kayo here. It's a short one. So is it better to apply for an O1 with coming from a country that has less citizens there and less applicants? Meaning, you know, notoriously India and China are the difficult ones. But yeah, what's your? I assume that Kayo has maybe a few citizenships or a few passports, so that's why he's asking.
Yeah, in terms of the USCIS phase, I think it is okay if you're not from India or China. And EB2 national interest is not going to change. But in terms of getting the visa in the consulate, this can be a problem if you are sometimes in a country with a bad relationship. This happened, for example, with Brazil 4 months ago. Now it's fine. So my recommendation is always to verify how is the relationship with the consulate. So if you have some people saying, hey, the consulate's not so good, trying to understand in the details what's happening, because I saw this already happening in Mexico, Netherlands, it happened once, India, Canada was happening this year. So I think the problem is the consulate, but the USCIS phase is totally okay. It should be, at least. And I don't see any bias, to be honest, related to nationality.
Awesome. Niha asks how to build the profile now for the O1. And I say we keep this rather general. And then you can have a follow-up conversation about the education space in detail. But I guess someone who is in that situation right now, majoring in STEM, as many here are, wanting to get an O1, what are the best practices to do to build the profile during your time in university? And actually, I'll take a first hit. I'll give this a first go. So what I did when I was in university to build my profile was to I started a community which gave me access to the best talent. From there on, I found people to work together with and set up a consultancy. to do machine learning consulting. And then we got, awards and memberships and so on. So for me, everything always starts with having like a really strong community around you. And then usually opportunities just come from there quite naturally. Second thing I did, just like help out other people in the space, like help people host events, help people recruit. And all these people will later function as, for example, recommenders for your letters of recommendation, or can connect you with industry experts. So yeah, building that network and tapping into communities has been the most impactful thing.
Yes, opportunity that you have when you are a student is to publish articles because you are close to the university. And sometimes when you need, it takes a lot of times to publish something and get citations. So if you are still in university, I would invest on publishing some articles because this grant you one criterion in the one, and that's it. This already grant you one criterion. Another thing that you can do as a student is to participate of business and competitions in your field, because there are tons of them to students. And after you graduate, is not the same. And sometimes your energy is not the same also, or your availability. So it's better to enjoy. Still, you are there. For education itself, it's really common that amazing newspapers, they have at least one journalist dedicated to write about just education. So something that you can do is try to identify who is this person, try to connect in advance and make some relationship, maybe some contribution. For example, in Mexico, if someone is from Mexico or Brazil, we have the contacts of journalists that write about education in these countries. So it's really common that you have a specific editor for education, because we will always have content, and you always can use the passion for education as basically as an advantage. Because, for example, we have founders that work with the internal system. This is not sexy at all, but like education is amazing. We always have newspapers that want to share stories about that. So use that also in your favor.
As far as I can see, that concludes our question. I might have missed something. So if that's the case, please send a quick note here or speak up. I saw something here about the people from India and China and how they can better prep for the EB1. And I propose that that's the last question we take for the day. Fabiano, would you like to take that? How can people in India and China better prep for the EB1?
Yes, I think the first step is to get the O1. Not It's not a guarantee that everything that worked for O1 is going to work for EB1, but this helps you to stay motivated, and this give you a solid path to stay in the US. For example, we have a client from India that he stayed 10 years with the O1 visa because it's solid. He didn't get the EB1. So I think the first thing is to be safe, because you don't have so many options. H1B is always a lottery, so you cannot count on that. But my point is to understand really well what qualify or not, and starting advance, especially because, for example, when you raise money from VCs, if you raise like 100K and try to use that in the past as evidence for O1, it was okay. But for EB1, this is not enough. I would say you need at least 1 million or more with nice VCs. So I think the point is to understand all this difference and map all the options that you have to make sure that you are going in the correct direction. Because if you spend like 1 year doing something that don't qualify, you are going to lose time. And unfortunately, there's no easy path. You need to do to be amazing. Something that I recommend. Sometimes it's better to. I saw people that they try to prioritize a lot of things at the same time, but in the end, this is not prioritization because we're trying to choose so many things in terms of career. But something that can help you is to, especially if you're getting your first job, is try to get a job that sometimes pay less, but the 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 brand involved, like for the company is like distinguished basically, trying to at least get this. And sometimes distinguished companies, they have amazing projects that can be your original contribution. So I saw clients that sometimes they want amazing salary being a distinguished company, and sometimes these things are not going to happen at least at the same time. Sometimes yes, because if you go to a big tech or a large bank, this is amazing. But these companies are less than 5% in the market. So sometimes first things first. If you want to stay, get a company with credentials. And a junior college, when is the right time to apply for the O1? After college, because if you apply during college, it basically is going to replace your visa.
How old is too outdated or irrelevant for O1? Because assuming I have like an article written about me like maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago, would I still be able to use that, or would that be considered like irrelevant to like my profile currently?
Yes, I have data about that. I would say the threshold is 7 years. I already saw petitions with data older than that, and it was approved, but it's a challenge. After 7 years, I think it's not a guarantee that's going to work.
And speaking
But
about
there's
how, sorry, Fabio.
but there's no specific rule. That's the problem of immigration. There's no rules for a lot of things, and there's also a problem if you just had that and you didn't have any other article. This can also be a problem.
I've heard about some migration attorneys that the article has not to be older than 3-4 years. And if we speak about how old has to be the website, some of the attorneys, they asked for the traction of the monthly visits of the website for the past 2 years. So to prove that the website exists 2 years ago.
I have a question on like the judging criteria. Like I've heard like from different people like how many hackathons you need to judge or like participate in different judgings. Like, do you have a number for that, Fab?
Usually 3 opportunities of judging is fine, but I already saw cases that one really strong was enough, but I would say at least 3 regular ones, or if you combine maybe one really strong with another regular, it's okay. And these numbers that we have, from 3 to 5, is same for press or for judging the evidence. But sometimes we have cases that the client has a lot of other criteria and use just a strong one evidence, and this is fine. But if you are not so comfortable about your profile, try at least 3.
Okay, thanks.
All right. I don't hear any more questions. This is great. Let me stop the recording here.